Houston, we have a problem. So I guess everybody's been made well aware of all the recent fraud going on in Minnesota with the childcare centers. Shout out to Nick Shirley, who went around to Minnesota and filmed all of these fake. Really quick, if you're tired of all the real world news not speaking directly to you, click that subscribe button. Don't miss the episode of Saving America's Money. We want to get this information to viewers who are just like you. Child care centers that have been put up and receiving government funds from the state and federal funding based on you, the taxpayer, paying into those funds every single year. And when they went to those particular places, there was no one there. Not a child, not a book, maybe not even a teacher. So these are interesting times, right? And I think we all could feel that our money, our taxpaying dollars have been going other places where we have very little idea of where those things are going. But now we know, right? Sorry, I was a little warm. We know now. And so this is just one of the things that have been going on. But I came across another article. So in the film, if you haven't seen it, and I'm going to maybe play a clip on it during this video here. In the film, they talk about 3 places where the fraud has been going. One was child care centers. 2 was adult daycare centers. 3 was transportation companies. And then the 4th was healthcare centers. And I don't know if you guys seen my video for Saving America's Money. I called it a Great Healthcare Debacle. I'm going to have a part 2 of that series coming out. It was supposed to have been out, just didn't happen the way I wanted it to. And I'm going to talk about healthcare. But this particular gentleman, and I want to make sure I credit people for what they put onto social media. So let me see if I can get him on here. Let's see. He reposted Geiger Capital. He says, not just daycares, Somalis in Minnesota have been setting up fake medical centers, fraudulently diagnosing children with autism to systematically steal billions of taxpayer dollars through Medicaid. So I thought this was very interesting because we do know that Medicaid has always been a target for corruption. So let's dive into this article really quick. It says, in a press release announcing an indictment of U.S. Attorney's Office made clear that alleged autism fraud scheme extended through a wide network to drive up enrollment. Hassan and her partners pay monthly kickback payments to parents of children who are enrolled. So basically, if they enroll, they got kickbacks. This is part of where the money is going. The kickback payments range from approximately $300 to $1,500 per month per child. These amounts of payments were contingent on the services DHS authorized a child to receive. The higher the authorization amount, the higher the kickback. Often parents threaten to leave and take their children to other autism centers. They did not get paid for higher kickbacks. Now, number one, I know autism in the country has risen every single year. The ratio for kids with autism has basically decreased. I think 1 in 4 kids have autism of some sort. So now, obviously, there is a need for the service. But in this case, there's been more than a need, right, of the service, and it's gone. It's hitting our pockets in ways that it hasn't hit before. So let's look at this. Much like the HHS program, autism claims to Medicaid in Minnesota have skyrocketed in recent years. Watch this. From $3 million, it's only, 7 years ago, $3 million in 2018 to $54 million in 2019. So you guys think of this as, if I'm looking at a graph right now, there's if the graph is kind of hovering here and there's a quick spike, there's always, information when it happens like this, there's always something behind that. And nothing just happens for a reason when you see a spike up in this situation in money, right? So that's a huge amount of money, almost $50 million that was injected into autism claims from 2018 to 2019. In 2020, $77 million, 21, $183 million. And now in 2022 and 2023, we sit at $399 million. $500 million has been injected into the Minnesota Medicaid healthcare services. And where is this money going? And who is getting kickbacks? Because the way I see this is that it's like any scam, right? You try it for a little bit, it starts to work. We know that the U.S. government hasn't had the best checks and balances type of system. So you apply for these grants, you open up your business, then you say, hey, okay, you get a community of people together. Look, we about to run this play. Come here and sign up for services through our company. And with that, because we're getting so much money, we're going to give you a kickback for your child to be here, if the child was even here, right? Couple that with people flooding into the United States, right? Because to go from 3 million to 50 million in 1 year should alarm someone within the federal government. Like, wait, why all of a sudden are we giving this particular area $50 million? So there's really a interesting checks and balances type of system going on that is not doing the job that it's supposed to do, right? When someone applies for a grant, right, we hope, especially if coming for the federal government, that money is going towards the people who need it most. I think about people in California. I think about the homeless that's walking around on the street every day. So therefore, we know, because that was being kind of proven and brought into the world, that there are companies setting themselves up to provide services that actually never provide the service that was supposed to be done. So in California, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of nonprofits and NGOs and whatever you want to call them, doing God's work. Yes, we want you to help people who actually need help. But if the problem gets worse and the only solution that you have to this problem is creating more demand for funds because this is why it's so interesting. You don't solve the problem by eliminating the problem. You solve in their eyes, right? If I'm someone who is business is to provide services to homeless, right? And if I solve the homeless crisis, then I'm not a business. So I don't really want to solve the homeless problem. I really want it to continue, right? Because if it continues, then I can every year go back and ask for more money. Oh my God, look, homelessness went from 10% to 25% to now 50% from where it was. That's a good business opportunity for those companies, organizations that are in that space. Because if they solve the homeless problem, they don't get paid. In this situation, they're really not solving anything. Projectedly, they're not solving anything. They found a loophole. And that loophole said that they are able to open up centers with the right amount of kids and inject funding into those centers to make sure that the services get met. Now it comes down to the autistic children, right? Caring for them, but there's actually no centers. The money is being drawn into this area and there's no retribution, essentially. I want to show you guys one other thing, and I never knew this, by the way. I thought it was interesting. So here is a picture of the Somali flag, and oh no, there it is. This is the picture. Let me see if I can move it over. So this is a picture of no, that's Minnesota's flag, Aquil. I'm sorry, guys. Where's the? I mean, gosh, you just can't click on anything anymore these days. So here's a picture of the Somali flag. That one right there. Okay. It's always been that way, from what I could tell. I don't think they've ever changed it. This is the picture of Minnesota's flag. This one right here looks very, very similar to this. Oh, God, I'm having a trouble. Sorry, guys. To this flag. Look at that. And I didn't even know, like, that state's flags can change. I just never knew that was a problem. So, very interesting. Some similarities there. Not saying that that's the reason why the Minnesota flag changed, but, you know, if it's a duck and it quacks, quack, quack, I guess. Anyway, what do you guys think? A lot of information coming out right now. I just thought it was something I had to talk about because it's your money at the end of the day. It is your money funding these programs that aren't helping anybody. On the surface, they look like it, but when we actually do the research, it really does matter. So let me show you guys just a snippet of the video, and then we'll leave it at that. So this video and this shot on this clip is just about Nick Shirley, who's driving around with other gentlemen. I can't recall his name right now. And they're visiting some of the child centers in Minnesota. So go ahead and watch this clip. You know, guys, look, there's a lot going on, but, you know, I'm here to help bring light to a lot of situations and things that happen in our country. So stay strong, stay safe, and continue to save America's money.
Received $1.3 million in 2021. They got $987,000. In 2022, they got $714,000. That's the last I have for that one. And then the other one, $1.604 million in fiscal year 2025. Fiscal year 2024, they got about $800,000, and in fiscal year 2023, they got $904,059. This place right here. Yes.
We're outside of it.
Well, this is actually 2 daycares are registered here. One of them is Mako, which you see on this sign. The other one is Mini Child Care Center. And between the two of these child care centers, they're pulling in about $3 million a year. And there are no children. Every facility as you go to, the windows will be blocked out so you can't see in. There's nobody here. You won't see a single child at any of these facilities.